Trying to get my cat to come say hi.
This is Goofy.
Bye, Goofy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Philosophy. So today's video is going to be a little bit more around the philosophy of work, how it ties into your life, and how you can kind of play around with passions. So this is going to be basically me just kind of going on a rant, talking about a ton of different things when it comes to work and how it plays out in your life over the period of quite a few years. Playing on the idea of finding a passion and maybe finding work that you actually enjoy and how this can change your FIRE journey if you're on this kind of path. So first, let's kind of get into why FIRE. Why did the financial independence retire early movement draw you? What was it about this kind of lifestyle that really made you excited about changing things up, learning more about money, hearing other people's stories? So something that I did when I first found this movement, I really researched a lot about personal finance, got a lot of the basics down under my belt, and then I started to reach out, branch out, and learn new things that would allow me to get more of my time back. In doing that, I set a lot of really lofty goals for myself, and I wanted to kind of talk about that. Talk about setting goals and how that can kind of change the way that you view money and how you go about your life. So when you're setting goals, especially for FIRE or achieving any kind of financial independence type of lifestyle, I would ask yourself a few questions. The first one is, why are you setting these goals? What is your ultimate outcome? Is it to spend more time with your family? Is it to pursue maybe a passion, maybe creating something like YouTube, or maybe actually physically creating some kind of product like a specialized artsy, maybe you're a painter, maybe you just have these dreams that you've had your whole life and you want to put more time into pursuing those things. The one thing that I would watch out for is just setting an arbitrary number goal. If you are looking to FIRE and all you're really setting out in terms of setting goals is to pick a number and then work towards that, I think you're kind of missing a lot of the point of FIRE, because to me, and I think to a lot of people in the community, FIRE is about actually finding something that you want to do with your life. It's not about just hitting a number and then going and sitting on a beach for the rest of your life. It's about so much more than that, and finding some kind of purpose, some kind of drive and desire to actually use your days for the things that you want to do. And this kind of leads me into the next idea, which is finding work that you love. And just a disclaimer here, this is not a requirement. You don't have to find work that you love. It doesn't mean that you lack passion or you just haven't found the right fit yet. Some people just want to be able to do whatever they want and not make it an income stream. But something that I will mention in regards to passion and finding work that you enjoy, maybe it is actually just the job that you're doing now that is really dragging you down. And I think if you maybe tried volunteering or doing something that really excites you, regardless of whether or not it's going to become an income stream, is something that I think could potentially lead you down a path to just discovering more about yourself and realizing some of those bigger, loftier dreams. So something I want to kind of touch on in finding work that you really enjoy is maybe it means that you're looking towards doing something similar to Coast FIRE. Instead of putting all of your money, all of your savings into this very long-term goal of retiring early, maybe you slow that journey down a little bit, explore a few different interests that you have, and see if potentially that could become a career path for you. There's also the idea of traditional retirement. A lot of people in the FIRE community are not actually chasing the retire early portion of the acronym. Most people want to have financial independence so that they can choose to do what they want with their time. How do you find work that you love? This is definitely a massive question that I think most people have, and I think there is no simple answer. So just let me walk you through my experience in finding work that I enjoy. So I have wanted to be a pilot since high school, and I have attempted to follow this path multiple times in the past. It's never worked out because of finances. I never had the money to make it happen, and I was never able to get any kind of loan with a reasonable interest rate to cover it. I think only quite recently did a lot of the student loans programs in Canada begin to cover the astronomical costs of becoming a pilot. And this is why this has become more prevalent in my life and actually an option now. However, this idea of being a pilot has been with me for the majority of my life. There was a period of time where I had pretty much given up on following this dream in a career way at any point. And mostly because of the finances. I always thought that I would become a pilot, at least a private pilot, so that I could fly myself around just as a hobby. I had just kind of pushed it out of my mind. And I think a lot of people maybe deny some of the things that they actually feel inside that they want to do, deny themselves even the chance to take a deep dive into what it might actually take to make that a career. And listen, not every passion you have is going to become a career. Not every passion you have is going to become an income stream. And it definitely should not be that way. But if you're looking to kind of change up your path, change up your work and do something different, maybe you don't want to necessarily retire anytime soon. Maybe you don't even want to retire early. Maybe you don't even want to retire at all. I think the biggest lesson here is to try things out and really listen to what your surroundings and what your experiences in life are actually telling you. Do you ever feel like you have this kind of draw to something? Like maybe you are really drawn to helping animals, maybe working in a zoo or for a humane society. Maybe you're really drawn to working with the homeless and helping people out. Things like that. There are just so many options in this world of work that you can do that's really quite meaningful. And yes, a lot of these kinds of jobs don't pay that well. And this is something that I think a lot of us go through, which is golden handcuffs. If you're in a position where you're making quite a bit of money and you don't really have a ton of stress or a ton of responsibility, it can seem almost silly to leave that kind of job to go pursue something that's more of a passion. But I'm here to tell you that being on the fire path becomes so much more than just money very quickly. Once you have that kind of backlog of a nest egg to fall back on, I think that you should really open yourself up to trying new things, trying new careers and interests, and just exploring these things. I think one of the most cliched things I've ever heard is, do you work to live or do you live to work? And I kind of want to throw a third option into this, which is, why don't we just live to live? And I get that we need to have jobs and have income to sustain a lifestyle. We need it for housing, for food. We need it for some of the very basics of life. But I also think that once you get into a position where maybe you have a bit of money in the bank, I don't see what the purpose is to continue to slave away at a job that you hate just to get more money into your bank, to hit an arbitrary number, and then decide at that point you're going to figure things out. It doesn't really seem like a life worth living, at least to me. And it took me many, many years to figure this out. I was absolutely on the path of working myself to the bone to make as much money as possible, to get to that $500,000 goal I had for myself, where I would finally start to listen to my internal voice and try to figure out what the actual fuck I want to do for the rest of my life. And I don't know about you, but I'm not waiting until I am 50 or older to figure that out. I want to figure that out now. I want to live now, and I don't want to delay this kind of thing until some magical date in the future. There's nothing wrong with having a job that just funds the life that you want. If you are working a job that you actually don't mind and you're making quite a bit of money and you still have a ton of work-life balance, maybe your passions you can pursue outside of work. And working can be the source to make you realize those dreams. Work does not have to be the only thing in your life that's bringing you any kind of purpose or passion or anything like that. You can absolutely see work as just a paycheck. And like I've said before, absolutely nothing wrong with that. So don't think I'm trying to say that finding the passion is the only way to have a fulfilling life. But I think you need to be a little bit more conscious of where you are spending your time, where you're spending your energy, and especially where you're spending your money. Here is the thing about money. When you don't have money, it is a massive problem. When you don't have money, the only thing you really need to worry about is getting money, because you need to be able to put food on the table, roof over your head, clothes on your back. And that is the position where you don't want to be for your entire life. It is okay to be there. It is okay to start there. But looking towards a brighter future and building something for yourself that gives you more than just the basics is something that I think most people should be focusing on. Once you have your basic needs met and you're making a little bit more than you need to survive, this is when things become very interesting. This is when you have disposable income and you have money that you get to choose where to spend it. This can be very difficult for a lot of people who don't have the basic personal finance skills on how to budget, how to spend money, and how to save. This can be quite difficult when you're in the mindset of just trying to survive. But I think for a lot of people, once you kind of get out of that hole, you really have to change your mindset around work, looking at it as a goal, looking at yourself as a set of skills that you can continually improve upon, finding new, better work, better opportunities, and working hard until you can climb out of that hole, up the ladder if you want to call it that. Just keep going in a direction that makes your life better. And I think that this is mainly a mindset thing. I don't think that this has 100% to do with your circumstances. I have come from nothing. My mom was a single mom. I lived with her and my brother, and we had multiple times where we almost ended up living on the street. I was in college for a very brief period of time before I had to leave to go back to work to help support my household. I had zero, zilch, nada knowledge about finances whatsoever. No role model to teach me the ropes. This is something that a lot of people need to realize. The only thing that you can change is yourself. You can only change what you see and perceive by really digging into what you actually want. Trying to figure out your actual goals, not just some random number in the future, but having some more depth. Do you want to spend more time at home with your family? Do you want to create your own business? Do you want to make your own art? There are so many options. People are so incredibly creative. And it really makes me sad to think that so many people are just in jobs that they hate just because they feel like they just need to survive. They just need to make enough money to get by. Changing your mindset on every single thing that you can do, any skill, anything, no matter who you are, where you're from, what your background is, anything can be improved upon, and you can work towards being a better version of yourself always. At the end of the day, when you set these goals for yourself, the biggest question I think we need to be asking, especially on the fire path, is what happens when you hit those goals? If you have a number in your head that you want to hit by a certain time and it happens, what then? Do you just stretch your number out further so that you have more to reach for? Do you give yourself a little bit of a break? Do you maybe relax your spending? Spend a little money on some kind of reward for yourself once you hit those goals? The biggest question is, when do you start to enjoy the fruits of all of your hard work? And being on the fire path, I think we kind of lose track of this sometimes. Sometimes it's all about getting to that next point and not so much about enjoying the path that gets us there. This is one of the biggest reasons why over the last probably 6 to 8 months, I have very much changed my outlook on life and money. I was definitely in a place where I just wanted to keep my head down and make as much money as possible to get to a point where I could retire early and start pursuing the things I actually wanted to pursue later in life. Now that I've kind of shifted my mindset to more of a coast fire type of setup, it means that I am chasing those dreams and those thoughts, ideas, everything now, because I have the nest egg backing me up to fall back on in case anything happens. And I don't think that you should have nothing to fall back on and pursue your dreams. I think that that can sometimes work out, but I do think it's risky. I am just a naturally risk-averse person. And yes, probably the biggest thing that changed was that I learned how to manage money. And once I had that under my belt and once I had my finances in order, I felt like there was nothing in the world that could stop me. There was nothing holding me back. I had cash in the bank. I had something to fall back on. I had a skill set that was in demand. And I knew that going forward, I would never feel those kinds of issues ever again. And this is something I think that is so key to having a good mindset and being able to adapt to changing things. And I think that reframing the way you think about money, instead of just being this thing that you survive on, look at it as being a tool to get you forward and always be learning, always be practicing on whatever skills you want to improve. There's so many resources out there where you can increase your knowledge on something. The internet has everything you could ever want to know. If you really feel like diving into a subject, libraries are free. Use the resources that you have in your life to learn new things and to challenge yourself and to constantly be trying to get to the next phase, to get you closer to the goals that you really want to achieve. I guess the main points of this video are really that work has come so far from just being something that we did as a species to make sure we survived. And hundreds of years later, it still feels like so many of us are still in that state of survival, when we really should be working towards a situation where money is a tool that we can use to chase after the things that we really want in life and to maybe pursue passions, or maybe even just have hobbies on the side that we absolutely love, or spend more time with our family. There's so many things that we can do and use money as a stepping stone to get there. And I just hope that this video can reach somebody out there who is maybe struggling with this, maybe struggling in a space of just surviving, a mentality of just getting by, when we as human beings are capable of so much more, and you are not bound by the skill set that you are in at the moment. You can always build on it and you can always improve. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.